And welcome. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Money Matters going live on onedealaway.com/live every morning at 7 a.m. And of course, today is Monday. It is slightly behind 7 a.m. I'm running late today, but we are live. We have an excellent show. And my name is Nev. I will be your host. And today we have all kinds of important news when it comes to what's going on with money, business, finance, way to make money, lose money. You can do everything you want. Sometimes something's a little bit easier. I think losing money is probably a bit easier than making it. The show over here today, we're going to be talking about, what are ways that some of the companies or states might be losing or making money and how you can do the same thing. One of the biggest things is we're going to be talking about human migration. What's going on with that stuff? We've been talking about people exiting, mass exodus from largest cities, and we've talked about the impact that that has not just on the real estate and the investors in those cities, but also on the government as well as, they get money from all of those things. And then, of course, that's how they can support the schools, the roads, emergency services, that kind of stuff. And we're going to be talking quite a bit about what's going on with that stuff, where people going from, where people going to. And we're going to be looking at some of the prices of some of the largest indexes and largest movers and really talk about sort of why, how, where, and just kind of get ready ourselves for the week ahead. It is Monday. This week is going to be potentially quite exciting when it comes to some of the laws that might be passed. As you know, the stimulus checks are the thing that everybody is waiting for, in addition to the unemployment benefits, which have officially expired yesterday all over US. So all of the extra payments, all of that stuff is officially gone now. And now 32 million, 33 million, depending how you count it. And of course, if you watch some other shows, they will tell you 25 million. So clearly, we are a few million apart, which is a big deal if you think about it. But they are suffering. They are scared. They are worried. They are potentially in a world of financial hurt. And we'll see if the Congress will be able to pass the new law this week, because remember, at the end of this week or maybe next week, I can't remember, they go away. They go away for basically another month, and they won't be back until after Labor Day, so in September. So if they don't solve it now, we are going to be waiting for a very, very long time. And if you watched yesterday's episode, yesterday's show, you also learned that some of the unemployment stuff that they are talking about, the Bureau of Unemployment or that unemployment insurance, they may not be able to execute what the government leadership, so to speak, wants to be done in a timely manner. They're saying it's going to take about 20 weeks or so, which basically puts us at the end of 2020. So there you go. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff that is going on right now that I think it's very, very important. And so we're going to be talking about the migration, the bankruptcies, the money, and what's going on. So as you can see, packed show. So let's do this. And good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Monday to you. Hope you're doing excellently. As you can tell, we have a lot to talk about. And of course, we're going to get started. We're going to jump right into this whole thing. I hope you're ready, because I know that I am. And for some reason, my computer wants to talk to me. So hold on just a second. Sorry about that. It happens. It happens. Here we go. All right. Ooh, boy, leaving California. So, interesting news. This weekend was very, very interesting component for me, because I have received a text from a very trusted friend that basically came and said, I know that you invest in real estate. There's this amazing property really close by. It would be very cool if we could be friends and neighbors and stuff. We thought about buying, but there's some challenges that we're dealing with. Do you want to buy this property? And of course, I know where they live, which is California. And I didn't want to even know what it was, how big it was, whether it could I could care less because I personally don't want to have any business whatsoever with California or in California. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely adore the state. I think it's beautiful. I mean, the beaches are gorgeous. The weather is nice. People, you meet some very nice people. You meet some very pretentious people. Northern California is very different than Southern California. I've lived there for a few years. I've traveled there extensively. I think I've visited every single national park that exists in California where I lived there. And I will tell you one thing. I don't want to go back and live in California for as long as the current state of affairs exists. And I'm not talking just about COVID. I am talking about the political and the taxation pieces. And if you think I'm the only one, well, I have a full show for you because this is Joe Rogan. And some of you may know him, and he's basically saying, I'm out of here. He's leaving California to go, well, Texas. That's right. And, he's saying, well, I'm going to have more freedom and I can drive, blah, 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 blah. But, people called him out right there on Twitter. As you can see, it's like, no, he is not leaving for the crowds and leadership and the commute, although leadership potentially could be. He's leaving because California has 13.3% income tax bracket for 1.1 million plus annual income, whereas tax has no income tax. And so, and I guess he signed just a giant deal with Spotify. And so that is the reason that he is leaving. So, of course, that is one of the biggest reasons that people are leaving. As you know, Tesla is actually building a factory in Texas as well. And, Elon Musk is not the only one. There's so many people that are on the wealth spectrum that are leaving, that have businesses and have said that I'm out of here. I want nothing to do with it. Some people I know personally, some people I know professionally, and some people I just know of. And I will tell you, they're leaving. Where are they going? Well, they're going to Texas. They're going to Puerto Rico. They're going to Florida. Quite a bit of folks are moving to Arizona, although not the people that I personally know. That was a story of a few years back. But let's take a look at some of the articles of who is all leaving, like what is going on there. And here's this particular article saying leaving California, which I think is quite appropriate. Is basically started with the story of a couple who was forced, more or less, to move to Idaho. And they are basically saying that now in Idaho, they have free time and money left over at the end of each month, and the area is significantly safer. So that's one of the reasons that folks are leaving. And Idaho is one of the fairly popular, but we'll talk about what are the most popular states that people are moving to and going to. The U.S. Census Bureau numbers show that middle and lower classes are leaving California at a higher rate than the wealthy. And this is an interesting piece for me because most of the folks that I know that are leaving in places, like I said, California, no, sorry, Texas, they're leaving California for Texas, Florida, and Puerto Rico. And those are individuals who own businesses who I would argue their income and net worth is in hundreds of thousands, if not in millions or tens of millions or more. So they are, I would argue, by all accounts, on the wealthier side of things, and they're leaving. Most of them do own businesses, so they're leaving for tax reasons, for the political and tax reasons. And it's one of the same reasons that I decided to leave California as well and not invest or do business in California because it's absolutely horrendous. There are all these taxes, there are all these dues. When you pay them, they want more. When you don't pay them, they still want more. When you pay more, they still want more on that. And it's a constant battle and struggle back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They make it impossible, absolutely impossible to do business or to do anything in the state of California. So, but this was an interesting piece for me right here. The cost of living and defining issue. The second quarter of 2019, San Francisco Bay Area topped LA, Washington, and Chicago when it came to people leaving major U.S. cities. It was second to only New York City. More than 28,190 people departed the Bay Area during those 3 months, close to double in 2017. In 2018, according to U.S. Census about 190,000 more people left the Golden State than moved here. So that means we're getting a little bit of a drain. And I like to call this the brain drain because while, yes, you could argue that maybe lower and middle income, I also would argue that there's a large number of wealthy individuals that are leaving. Now, there are companies that are definitely staying there, right? Facebook is still there, as far as I know. But who knows? They could be shopping for all I know. I don't know any of that stuff. I don't hang out with the guy. But, it's very interesting that this is kind of what's going on. Uh, Survey found 53% of residents and 63% of millennials were considering leaving. And I also know that because I do have friends, colleagues, students in state of California, I know that many of them have been considering and thinking about leaving the state. And they're not the only ones, right? There are many people who are also considering leaving the state. And it's a very interesting kind of concept to, if you really think about it. Now, what does this mean actually for state of California, for those staying and for those that are thinking about investing in state of California when it comes to potentially real estate? I will let you know that, one of the things when you invest in real estate, there's many reasons why you might consider putting your property in an LLC, right? It could be potentially a bit more challenging to get financing and that kind of stuff. But from the asset protection components, it could be potentially easier. Now, you could also do land trusts, and there are different ways of what you can do, but many people will go with an LLC. Well, if you do that in the state of California, you automatically, before anything, without anything, you have to pay, I want to say $800 right there from the get-go. The state of California says, well, if you own an LLC, you owe us money. Now, it doesn't matter whether that LLC makes money, loses money, as long as it exists and it's registered in the state, and you have to register in order to hold a property in it that is located inside of California, you automatically have to pay $800 a year. And that's, of course, if you make money and blah, 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 then there's always more taxes that you have to pay. So that's one of the reasons and one of the things that is really, really challenging when it comes to state of California. And I will tell you, they will collect every single penny and then charge you extra. And they are notorious about losing stuff. Then you have to pay things and you have to prove things. And it's a back and forth, back and forth. It's just a lot of work and a lot of money. So anyways, folks are leaving. So what does that mean? Well, if less people end up owing things, right, or owning things, and more people end up leaving, that means that more jobs are being lost, more companies are leaving, jobs are being lost in that particular state, which means that they're not getting business income, they're not getting the business income, meaning the income tax that the business pays on what they're making, what their proceeds are, plus all of the legal pieces that when you have corporations or LLC or that kind of stuff that you have to pay, right? So all of that money is lost. In addition to that, you lose the jobs, which means that income tax is also being lost, not just from the business side of things, because business also has to pay for it, but also on the employee side of things. So that means that the state is actually bleeding quite a bit of money. Well, what do they do? Well, their solution is increase taxes. When they increase taxes, more people want to flee, more businesses want to flee, then they continue increasing. On top of that, they look and say, well, people are leaving, and that's really tragic. We can't really stop them, although they will try. Maybe we could tax real estate because you can't take that house and land with you. What are you going to do? Dig up a hole and carry it across the state line? You can't. So you're kind of stuck. So they're starting to increase, and they will continue starting to increase the property taxes in beautiful state of California. And of course, the cost of living keeps on going up. The property values keep on going up, which means the tax bracket and the amount of stuff that you have to pay keep on going up. And I will tell you, as somebody who always is looking for deals to buy, when it looks from the real estate perspective, of course, other deals are welcome as well. If there is a proper sort of risk reward ratio, remember, low risk, high reward. That's the game that I like to play. Not everybody enjoys that, but that is my personal choice of how I like to invest and play the game. So there's a lot of properties when it comes to these distressed properties that are being sold for foreclosure, for the tax foreclosure deals. There's a lot of them in California for a reason. And, I will tell you, I have found some amazing deals that will just pop up on my feed, and I will take a look, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then I look, I'm like, but it's California. I want nothing to do with it. So there you go. That's kind of where I stand. Now, where are people going? Well, here are the most popular destinations for Californians moving out of state. And it's Texas, Arizona, Washington, Nevada, Oregon, Colorado, Florida, New York, Virginia, and Idaho. That's right. Those are the top 10. Now, Puerto Rico is not on it, but I do know a lot of folks that are moving into Puerto Rico out of California. Well, out of many higher tax states. And of course, we've already covered extensively that people are moving out of New York City for different reasons, right? Taxes and expense of living and that kind of stuff. Now, one of the other reasons that it's so easy, all of the stuff that we looked at, I couldn't find anything that is current because they're collecting the data that is current. And so it's going to be months before we can see what's currently happening. So what my prediction is, what my thinking is, based off of what I know and what I'm seeing, is that there's going to be a lot of folks that are going to, even more folks that are going to be leaving California for one simple reason. You know, we used to have to move to a particular area because of a job. But so many jobs are remote now, right? You sit in a place where I'm sitting right now, right? Your home office, your home, your bedroom, your closet, your garage, your, whatever, your car, your backyard. People get very creative of where they work out of. Well, if that is the case, and we no longer have to report to job, and now you're sort of stuck living in a particular city or state that might be a little bit too expensive, well, guess what? You can leave, right? And people are. So what they're doing is they're leaving their homes, leaving the states, traveling to one of the 10 states that we've mentioned, say, for better quality of life, lower cost of living. So now you can have somebody who's employed at a company that their vast majority of their work is over phone and internet, which just about everybody can do that now. Not all jobs can do that, right? There's some manufacturing jobs and stuff that you have to be there present, hair salon. I mean, you can't cut the hair online, right? You can show them how to do it, but you can't do it for them. You can't paint their nails. You can't give a massage to somebody. So, excuse me. So there's a lot of jobs and businesses that are physical, that are in person, but there's so many more that you could do very, very well, incredibly well online and remotely. So if you have one of those jobs and say that you're earning $100,000 in, I don't know, LA or San Diego, and you can still keep that job with the same benefits, same income, same everything, but now you move to, say, Idaho, for example, or Arizona, if you prefer, or Nevada, or wherever, or Texas, or Puerto Rico, whatever, right? One of the 10. Now you're living in a place where it has a much lower income tax bracket or zero potentially, and that's one of the benefits that you can enjoy. So now instead of paying all of those taxes, right? Because you have income, federal, state, cost of living, cost of like I'm talking like household and that kind of stuff. And now you move into one of these states where it's much cheaper, and guess what? It almost feels like you just got a bonus, right? It almost feels like you're not just earning $100,000. Now you're earning like 120, 150, $180,000, right? That's amazing. Why wouldn't you do that? So people are starting to do that stuff. And I believe that in upcoming months and years, we're going to see some major changes to California, as well as some of the other very, very expensive locales. One of the pieces that wasn't necessarily mentioned in any of the articles, but I happen to know it because of what I do and who I hang out with and how I spend my time and stuff. You can also potentially consider moving to Vermont. Vermont, for example, is offering, I don't know if they're still doing it, but they did it for a little while for the past, I think they started it last year, maybe year before last. They were offering a bonus and $10,000 bonus if you moved to Vermont and didn't need a job. So you already had a remote job from wherever and you wanted to move to Vermont, they would actually pay you to move there. So that was one of the interesting pieces. Now, Vermont has its own challenges when it comes to the cost of living and all of that stuff, and they have their own unique quirkiness. But I think every place has that. So just another place for you to consider. Now, if you're thinking, well, this is just people, Nev. You are, what is your proof for companies and stuff? So We've already talked about Tesla kind of moving, and now I have a different article. And in this particular article, look at this. 1,800 companies left California in a year, with most bound for Texas. Now, this is a year-old article, so I'm sure that there's many more changes. But like I said, I can't find some of the more recent ones. A record number of companies are leaving California for states with a better business climate. Of the 1,800 events, 299 of those departure landed in Texas. Now, there's a magazine that declared California the worst state in which to do business. And I don't know that I've done business in every state, but those that I have, I agree. It's bad. I don't like it. Hostility towards businesses, high utility and labor costs, punitive regulations, worrisome housing affordability for employees are amongst California's negatives, right? Aside from being impossible to do business. During the study period, 275,000 jobs and $76.7 billion in capital funds were diverted out of California. That is huge. Remember, I told you that is very, very huge. And, all of the signs that they're going to continue and actually worsen the whole case is persisting. And so it's going to be very interesting. Now, where are the most from California businesses relocation? Well, there we go. Texas again, Nevada, Arizona, Colorado, Oregon, Washington, North Carolina, Florida, Georgia, Virginia. So you will see it's a little bit different where the businesses are moving versus where the places people are moving. But you will see that some of them are very much exactly the same. Top California counties losing the most companies were Los Angeles, Orange County, which is just south of LA, Santa Clara, San Francisco, San Diego, Alameda, which is across the bay from San Francisco, San Mateo, Ventura, San Bernardino, and Sacramento. So there you go. This is one of those pieces that I thought was very, very interesting for you to understand, because if you're thinking about starting a business, moving, you might want to consider and think twice. California, like I said, it has a lot of perks, it has a lot of benefits, and then there's a lot of downsides to it. And I think what we're seeing, this migration that had started predominantly really started to pick up into, well, we saw a bit of exodus in 2005, 6, 7, when right before the real estate crash, where people were moving predominantly again to Nevada, Arizona, Texas. But Nevada and Arizona were the two top ones that people were moving to because they just couldn't afford the homes anymore. Like, you couldn't live there. So they were moving across the border to live there. And that's kind of what was going on then. Then it's sort of like when we had the whole crash, things have kind of slowed down. And then I want to say right around 2015 to 2017, it started to pick on back up. So 17, 18, 19, and in 20, I do expect those numbers to go even higher. And as I've mentioned, there's many people that are incredibly well spoken or outspoken. I don't know that are well spoken, but they're definitely outspoken about what's happening in California and the fact that they're not enjoying it. And one of those people is CEO and founder of Tesla. Yes, Elon Musk hasn't been shy at all. And I do have a very interesting kind of news. If you are a techie, if you are in the cars, if you are sort of interested in some of these things, there's an interesting piece that is happening inside Tesla, and I want to share it with you. I got very excited for a lot of reasons. So they are basically creating a van with camping. What? Hello. Okay, so I had to look at this up. And so now they're basically putting all of these cars and blah, blah, blah. And so here is sort of the car, or kind of the proposal. Now, it looks really weird. I don't know that I love the design of the car. Let me know, by the way, if you're watching this live, welcome. I forgot to welcome you. My bad. I apologize for that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me know in the chat of what you're thinking of, how do you like this? And if you're not watching this live but watching on YouTube, do me a favor right now. Smash that like button so that I know that you're watching, and let me know in the comments, what do you think about this design? I'm not crazy about it. It almost reminds me of like the Mad Max cars, the I think it was like 80s movie or whatever. That's what it looks like to me. But anyways, so but I looked at this thing and I'm going, Okay, this is kind of cool. Let me see if I can zoom in. Yeah, I can zoom in. So it apparently, comes in with like the cooking stuff, which you can like put away and like all this stuff. Look at this. Then there's like a place to sleep, and it's quite fantastic. Like, it's going to have adjustable suspension with 15-inch off-ground clearance, which is quite amazing. All-wheel drive, off-road tires. I'm like, where the heck are we going? So it's very very interesting, and they are. I mean, it's all this seating for 10 to 15 adults. I mean, that's a bus. That's a bus. Who needs 10 to 15 adults to seat? But then again, I do have a vehicle that can sit seven, so maybe I should maybe I shouldn't say anything whatsoever. This is very exciting. So now here is what they would call the camping and home office option. Camping and home office? Say what? All right, y'all. This is exciting. Let's look at it. Solar panels on the roof, right? Then you could basically that you could use, and it could basically charge and stuff. Then it would have this like heating, ventilation, HVAC system that would work, and help out. Within it, it would have multiple zones and all these different things. Evaporative cooling option. So yeah, yeah. More efficient cooling in low humidity environments. So if you move to Arizona and you want to live out of a car, I guess you would use this one. Ability to create fresh drinking water. Say what? Crazy. Murphy bed for sleeping. Home office setup for working. Mobile internet connection. Mobile toilet and shower option inside your vehicle. Hello. Microwave oven, mobile clothes washer and dryer. Of course, it would harvest the waste heat from the dryer and water from the washer and dryer and convert them to clean drinking water. So this author basically compared the extra large house with Tesla van RV. Now, I don't know why you would take an extra large house and compare it to an RV. That's silly. I think you need to compare a small house with an RV. But then again, I digress. Whatever. He's making all this kind of like crazy stuff, within it. I just think it's very, very cool. I don't know if anybody and everybody is going to do it, but if it does have ability to do some of these things, this is going to be quite fantastic. And you see some of these things when you're camping, you have those vans and stuff. Typically, the foreigners rent it for like a month when they fly into the U.S. and then they want to visit the parks. I haven't seen as many of these this year, but then again, I have been A, avoiding the crowds, B, going much more remote when I go camping, and C, I think, nobody can really travel into U.S., nor can we travel anywhere else. Trust me, I have tried. I have attempted to go in and hang out with my family, and that's not happening. That is not happening. So they teased me yesterday with a phone call and a live camera, letting me watch the beautiful beach and them hanging out in a beautiful beach. And I can't go visit them. And so my request for them is please do go swimming for me as well. That was actually a request for my nephew. So hopefully he will do it as I told him, make sure you promise. Every day you go swim for Uncle Nev at least once. So he said he would. I believe the young man will actually do that stuff. And I just realized I am getting old because the moment you start referring to somebody as a young man, you know you're getting old. Okay, enough being silly. Let's take a look at what's going on in the markets. All right, so we haven't done this in a while, so let's see what is the week before us look, so we can talk about week ahead. And here we are, S&P 500. In one day, as you can see, it's been down. 5 days down, very much down. 1 month, we're still up, but we're kind of getting this little humpy dumpy thing going on. And in a 6 month period, we've kind of climbed up far from where we were in March, but haven't hit the highs. Let's see, Nasdaq. Nasdaq is down in one day. 5 days also down. 1 month, of course, it's up. And of course, we're going to know that in 6 months it is up. Let's see the Dow. Dow Industrial down in one day, down in 5 days, up in a month, but you can see that the hump is much more pronounced than anywhere else, and definitely down and much, much, much flatter. I mean, it's been flattish since June. Not much movement in the Dow whatsoever. Now, let's take a look at what's going on with precious metals. Silver is up, y'all. Silver is up. While I expected it might go slightly down, it is going up. So I was definitely wrong. But I'm not wrong on the long-term prediction of silver. And you can see that, 30 days, we've hit this high. We've kind of hit this little bit of a down piece, which we've been talking about. Whoa, I don't know what just happened here, which we've been talking about. It goes up, kind of sideways down, then up, kind of down and sideways up. And so we are experiencing the same thing. And I think we're going to see some additional moves definitely happening. So here we go. You will see that we are right here at $24, a little bit over $24 per ounce. Gold is doing amazingly well. It's continuing to pump. Look at this bad boy go. I mean, we've broken the record officially. 1920, I believe, was the high. All right, let me see if I can find this. Here you go. 1920, I believe, was the high over the 10 years. And again, I have attempted to do this before, and it's not letting me. So let's just do this because this is the only way that I know how to do this stuff. And uh, as you can see, we are definitely hitting the all-time high. This is amazing. And I believe we have broken the all-time high because if we talked about it, we've definitely, and it's doing incredibly well. Gold is performing incredibly well. So given that we've hit the all-time high, there is a very good potential that this puppy next up is going to be above $2,000. And rejoice for everybody holding on to the shiny beautiful pieces of metal. And now to sort of go in and continue to talk about, let's also consider what's going on in cryptocurrencies. And you will see that Bitcoin has broken 10,000 for a second time in 24-hour period. When we talked about it yesterday, I've already told you that they have broken 10,000. Then it kind of went back down to the 1900s. Now we're back to over $10,000. So we're definitely flirting in that area. And so that is a potentially bullish sign. Ethereum is over $325, holding steady. And in 24 hours, these puppies have moved on up. So yesterday, it was 10% movement for Ethereum. Now it's over 5% movement for Ethereum. As you can see, Bitcoin is moving on up as well. And if we actually go in and take a look at what's going on, give me 7 days, please. Thank you. Um, you can see, look at this. This is a bullish movement for sure. This is a 7-day movement right here, and as you can see, we've been hitting 10,000 levels for sure, for sure, for sure. In one day, you can see that we've gone down to the 98s and then right back on up. So it is a beautiful movement on for Bitcoin for sure, and that is very exciting news for me. I don't know how you feel about it, but it is very exciting movement for me. And let's take a quick look at Ethereum chart as well, since we mentioned it. It is the second largest crypto that is out there. And let's see. Let's take a look at the 7-day, por favor. And you will see, look how beautiful this thing is moving. It has been performing incredibly well in a day. Market cap is definitely rising. The cost is rising, but the cost per Bitcoin is starting to slow down. So they're going to be very competitive, and I am very bullish on Bitcoin and Ethereum. So anyways, that's kind of where we are. For some reason, it's still loading. It's having trouble. That's okay. We will still continue with the show. Of course, none of the stuff that we talk about here is financial advice. You have to do your own research to uncover and discover as to what's going on. And we actually have one of the things that I talked about, we have been talking about, is of what's going on when it comes to businesses. And you will be able to see that we have many businesses that are closing and have been closing the stores. And, the bankruptcies are definitely rising. So here we go. let's go in and take a look at additional pieces of what's going on. So more retailers are filing for bankruptcy and they're closing. And you will see, of course, JCPenney, we talked about it already. Retail bankruptcies, now they have slowed down and stuff, but this is just going to get started. And I think we can expect to break these levels. I am at least expecting it. We will see if that will pan out. And of course, that is going to continue to rise. Now, of course, we have the women's company, J. Jill, still negotiating, but my understanding is that they did file on Thursday, and they're going to be closing a whole lot of stores. Pier 1, of course, out. Art Van out, Models out, True Religion, bye bye Neiman Marcus, JCPenney, we just talked about, GNC, goodbye, Lucky, not so lucky, they are gone. Sur la table, everything must go. They are done. Brooks Brothers actually has filed. I believe that they have been receiving some sort of offer of about 305 million, maybe, to try to keep some of the stores open. Yeah, exactly. Here we go. A stalking horse bid by Spark for 305 million is looking to salvage at least 125 stores, and they're basically kind of saying this is what's going to happen. So, uh, um, New York and Company, RTW retail wins. They're closing as well. Ascena Retail Group, so Lane Bryant, Ann Taylor, Loft, Lou and Gray stores, all of them are closing. And yeah. They are all closing, y'all. And this is one of those interesting pieces that I did want to share with you. And they're not coming back whatsoever. And that's something for you to actually pay attention to. And be very very on the rise and stuff, because they're not the only ones. They're saying that what is the Yelp? I was going to say, what is that app where you can go and research? But Yelp has reported that 60% of the restaurants that had to close are closing permanently. They're not coming back. So, folks, like I said, we're not out of this one. We're in a world of hurt, and we'll see kind of what it prevails and what ends up happening. But as you can see, it's not a brightest of the futures quite yet in many of the areas where I see some of the brightest pieces happening are within the tech world, of course, within the new asset class of the cryptocurrencies, and the shiny metals are definitely looking like they're going to outperform, just about everything out there. So hold on to those puppies if you haven't. And no, I don't think it's too late to jump into it if that is something that you want. So, anyways, it's a very, very interesting component, for us to consider and look into. Again, not a financial advice whatsoever, just the way that I'm looking at stuff. And to finalize where we are and what's going on, here is a warning coming straight out of Ray Dalio that there is a potential that could harm the dollar. I don't know how much of that is true, but I'm just going with what man has to say. Conflicts between the U.S. China could expand into a capital war that he suggested would harm the dollar. He also warned that loose fiscal policy and ideological divisions are pushing the U.S. into decline. There is a trade war, there's a technology war, there's geopolitical war, and there could be a capital war happening as well. Dollar has fallen against all major currencies tracked by Bloomberg in the past 3 months. Now, I want to pause right over here, and that is the truth. However, my understanding is that the President Trump, the Fed, they actually want to lower the dollar as much as possible to remain competitive on the global marketplace when, if, should things reopen at some point in the future. Again, I don't see it happening anytime soon, as horrible as that sounds. I mean, I am kind of like ready to go and do something and travel, and, we're just sort of stuck. So I personally am at this like, gotta go somewhere place. I don't know where you are. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments. But that's kind of where I am right now. And excuse me. But we're not going anywhere anytime soon. So I'm just gonna have to go and get into my Zen mode at some point and just let go of this desire to just have to go and be satisfied that I can drive to the local beaches here and local woods and forests and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of where we are going to go and get my thing going. To get my travel thing bug out of the way. The thing I worry about the most are the soundest of money. If we don't work together to do the sound things, to be productive, to earn more than we spend, to build stability in our currency and build the balance sheet, we are going to decline. And again, there is a potential with that as well. But my understanding is that the reason that Trump wants to lower the value of the dollar is so that more people would actually want to do business with us, that we would be exporting and that kind of stuff. But the problem is we don't have factories, we can't make stuff, we are not there yet. And so we'll see how everything turns out. For now, I think that, having a bit of cash, not the worst idea on the planet. Having a bit of gold and silver, not the worst thing on the planet. Having a bit of crypto, not the worst thing on the planet. Again, none of it is financial advice, but all of it is something that I believe in and something that I am quite passionate about. And I figure I tell you things that I believe in and be passionate about. So that will do it for today's show. As you can see, we were able to see some of the big pictures and start thinking differently about what does this mean for us, for a business, where are we going, where are we moving, where are we not moving to, and what could potentially transpire and happen for our investments and where to consider doing business in. So hopefully this is helpful to you. We are going to end the show right here, right now, until tomorrow. And then, of course, when we end this for YouTube, we're going to jump into the Q&A chat live. So those of you watching live, do stay tuned in. Everybody else, thanks for watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the bell, and I will see you tomorrow. Until then, stay forever money blessed, and do remember, you are only one deal away.